What's in the box?
It's the start of Jurassic June, in the year when Jurassic Park turns 30 years old. And to kick off Jurassic June, we're going back to where it all started. The beginning of where it all started. Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time, and it hooked me right away with the cold open. How does the opening scene of Jurassic Park compare to the opening scenes of the other movies in the Jurassic franchise? In this video, I'm going to rank them. You might think, Evo, that's very random. Well, yes. Anyway, there's no point to burying the lead. I think the original Jurassic Park has the best opening scene of all the movies. I might as well get that out of the way. The rest of the ranking, however, might surprise you. Jurassic Park does get the benefit of being the first, and all of this having been new at the time. But even without that advantage, it is still unsurpassable. The way it builds suspense and gives us glimpses of the horror that is about to come is brilliant. It also very cleverly introduces two key characters, and the relationship, quote-unquote, between them that adds depth to a later scene. The characters, of course, being Muldoon and the Velociraptor. The scene justifies Muldoon's hatred for the species that is alluded to later in the movie.
They should all be destroyed.
And his final fatal interaction with them is perfect payoff to this cold open. The Velociraptor is introduced to us as an intelligent, powerful, and tenacious creature. She knew how to disrupt the transfer from one cage to the next, she lifted up a full-grown man, and she didn't relent even as she was being tased. It's the perfect setup of arguably the main antagonist of the movie. This opening scene also gave us one of the most iconic lines of the franchise, which is more than a vapid line engineered for quotability. It says a lot about Muldoon's character, but also about the inefficient way in which the park as an organization deals with these dangerous animals, by refusing to heed his command and not shoot her. Even to save a life, they won't take that measure. The whole situation telegraphs how unprepared the park is to contain the threat that their attractions pose. And that is, of course, the crux of the issue, which will cause all security on the island to crumble. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the masterful cinematography and scores. So that's number one. What does the rest of my ranking look like? Let's go through the movies in chronological order and place them on the ranking. Comment your own ranking of the opening scenes below, and if you catch yourself enjoying the video, no reason to be concerned, you're just a massive Jurassic fan just like me. Give the video a like. The Lost World Jurassic Park is my second favorite movie of the bunch, but its opening scene doesn't manage to conquer second place. What I really enjoy about the cold open is the novel reference. A little girl getting attacked by compies on the beach is actually one of the first dinosaur encounters that the novel starts with. The movie does a good job at building dread, with the audience being acutely aware of the dangers that lurk on the island that the Bowmans have decided to come visit. While the viewer might initially expect a big dinosaur to come bursting onto the beach, it is a fun surprise to be faced with the tiny Compsognathus. As soon as the little critter appears, there is a sense of unease. On one hand, you're relieved because it is just such a small thing and you're wondering if maybe it is harmless, but on the other hand, you can tell something isn't right, even as the cute chirping sound effects are trying to lull you into a false sense of security. The scene excellently shows that even small dinosaurs are dangerous, and of course seeing the compies in the cold open makes their reappearance later on in the movie even better, because by then the viewer knows not to be fooled by the seemingly harmless appearance of a single compy.
Is it dangerous?
No, I wouldn't think so. You sure about that?
The opening scene of The Lost World is probably most famous for how it transitions into the main story. This is a laugh out loud moment for me every single time, but I don't think breaking the tension of the scene like that is ideal overall. As far as we know, the mother is looking upon the corpse of her daughter being consumed by compies, like actively still being snacked on. It's quite quite a gruesome thing to envision. And then suddenly we cut to Ian Malcolm. I think holding on to the dread and the horror and saving the humor for a little later in the movie would have been my preference. In a vacuum, I think the transition is hilarious. It's certainly very memeable, but I think the movie should have kept that uneasy feeling in our underbelly for a longer time until we eventually get the relief that the girl is fine when Hammond confirms that. And even then I'll say, I don't like that the girl is fine, because with that as the outcome, the cold open wasn't very impactful in and of its own as its own contained short story. Most Jurassic openings involve death, not all of them, but most of them do, and that's how I prefer it. So I would rank the opening scene of The Lost World Jurassic Park 4th. Jurassic Park 3 is a movie a lot of Jurassic fans have a lot of opinions about. By the way, if you are curious to know what my whole opinion is, my full ranking of the 6 movies overall, I've done a video on that previously. I will link it at the end of this one, so you can check that out after this ranking. The cold open of JP3 shows us and parasailing with unnamed locals 1, 2, and 3. Are there 3? Are there 2? I literally just watched this. How could I possibly forgotten? It has several unnamed men on a boat. 5 feet apart because they're not gay. The culprit has to have been the Spinosaurus. I think that is a pretty uncontested theory. I find it a bit dissatisfactory though. As a kid, this scene always confused me, and I still think it's not clear enough to give it much weight. The mystery doesn't lead to a satisfactory aha moment in the movie. It's more that after watching several times and through process of elimination, the viewer comes to the conclusion, oh yeah, well, clearly it was the Spino, that was like the only option, so cool, I guess. I think it would have been better if they had shown the sail of the Spinosaurus breaking the surface of the water, so that when this shot happens later on, the viewer does get that aha moment that you want when you start your movie on a mystery. You want to have a very clear moment of payoff. But the fact that it doesn't isn't even my biggest gripe with this opening scene. More than anything, it's just a bit ridiculous. It's a little silly, and not in a self-aware kind of way. A dense fog rolling in just long enough for the Spinosaurus to strike unseen is very engineered. It's giving because the script says so. The obvious green screen shots included in this are probably the worst offenders, and it's some of the most dated visual effects to be found in the franchise. It's so jarring and laughable every single time. It feels more like an SNL skit than anything else. I also think that every single scene that Ben makes an appearance in, he's being a bit of a douche for the purpose of making his death not sad when it's revealed to us.
No, I want that. Hey, let me take that. Hey, come on, give me that. Come on, baby.
It's not Ben, Paul.
Which is a missed opportunity. Make him likable. Make us feel bad for the guy. The biggest positive is that we get to see the transition in Eric's character going from panicking to being quite the survivalist and keeping a cool head. The conclusion is that, in my opinion, is one of the worst opening scenes of the franchise, but not the worst. I rank it 5th. We're leaving the OG trilogy behind and moving on to the Jurassic World trilogy. Jurassic World itself opens with a dinosaur hatching to ominous music and then this joke. I get it! Dinosaurs are like birds. Haha, you are so clever. Technically, you could argue that the opening scene is just the hatching egg, because the scenery change starts a new unrelated scene. But to give Jurassic World a chance, let's consider the next scene as part of its cold open. The next scene being the introduction to the kids. And I hate it. He's pretty cringe, in my opinion, although not as bad as his older brother, who is near insufferable. And that's coming from someone who likes the actor. Like, I like Nick Robinson. God, I do not like Zach. And this is not Zach's fault, but it does reflect poorly on him in the opening scene. His girlfriend is so annoying. And you know what? This is Zach's problem. This is Zach's fault. Because he is a twat for clearly being sick of her, as he should be, but not just ending the relationship with her. Honestly, the only fun to be had in this scene is with the parents. They're pretty funny in like a sarcastic Modern Family kind of way, but they are minor characters.
Yourself a Merry little Christmas.
Finally, why is it Christmas? Why is there snow? Because the director thought the visual contrast would be fun? I feel like that's literally the only reason. But it's weird. This is a summer blockbuster. It came out in June. I have literally nothing positive to say about this scene. My rank is 6th and last. If you feel like I'm being too harsh, if there's something you do like about this scene, maybe it's your favorite opening scene, let me know in a comment down below. Alright, so Fallen Kingdom and Dominion are gonna battle it out for the honor of being ranked 2nd. This video is gonna get copyright claimed by Universal instantly. I won't get a penny for the work that I put into it, but I'm doing this video anyway because I love this franchise, I love talking about it, and I would love for the channel to reach even more people who are big Jurassic fans just like me. So please give the video a like to help it out in the algorithm, and consider subscribing if you're not subscribed yet. Fallen Kingdom has the longest opening scene of all Jurassic movies, with the other outlier being Jurassic Park having by far the shortest opening scene. The 4 other movies, Jurassic Park 3, The Lost World, Jurassic World, and the prologue of Dominion, are all really close in length. The opening scene of Fallen Kingdom being much longer does give it a bit of a leg up in this ranking, although for the overall movie experience, a long opening scene isn't necessarily great. I am not a fan of Fallen Kingdom. I am outspoken about this, but man does it have a strong start. I was so on board with this modern Jurassic horror vibe, which made the rest of the movie all the more insulting to me because I really don't like it, I'm sorry. This scene we know is split between the submarine getting snacked on by the Mosasaurus and the guy in the yellow jacket being hunted by Rixie, only to get snacked on by the Mosasaurus. I love the sense of dread that you feel when you're watching the submarine guys, and the visual of the underwater lights suddenly disappearing is fantastic. Rixie stalking the tech guy being illuminated only by the flashes of lightning was amazing, and then for the guy to narrowly escape her and start to cheer only for the Mosa to leap out of the lagoon was spectacular, and I'm an absolute sucker for a Mosasaurus scene. I love my giant Mosa, I make no apologies. I'm a simple girl, size matters. Anyway, the opening scene is also when we get introduced to the infamous retcon of the world universe, and we see the dumbest enclosure design ever. There is literally no reason to install a Mosasaurus-sized gate on the Mosasaurus lagoon that leads directly out into the open ocean. It is so dumb, but I won't hold the scene responsible. The scene is great, which is why I would give it the silver medal. That means Dominion's prologue comes in 3rd place. I do really love that prologue because it's dinosaurs just being animals. Yeah, we get the Giga versus Rex rivalry and setting that up as like the oldest beef known to man, but other than that, it felt like it wouldn't have been out of place in Prehistoric Planet. While that's not necessarily what I want from the franchise overall, seeing that in the opening of a Jurassic movie was very different, very fresh, and I thought it was great. And it is absolutely integral to creating backstory for the final dinosaur battle of Dominion. So I think it is a well-earned 3rd place. Share your own ranking down below and subscribe for more movie-themed content during Jurassic June. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, enjoy Jurassic June!